Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathsala. I am Dr. P.R. Goswami from Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts. I am working as Director Librarian Information. Today I am going to talk module Government Publications from the paper Social Science Information System. The objective of this module is to identify, describe different sources of government information and titles of government publications, and also to examine structure of government publishing as a whole. Another objective is to discuss the origin of government information and the agencies responsible for it. Government publications in India. Government is considered to be the largest publisher in the country. The government functions through a large number of formal organizations known as ministries, departments, commissions, and bureaus, etc. These formal organizations produce a large quantity of data and information as a result of their activities or as byproducts of administration. Earlier, the published version of this data and information were made available to the users in the form of reports, serials, monographs, or any other form of ad hoc print releases. Recent trend in government publications. The trend in government publication has changed in recent year. Now there is openness and transparency in administration. Advances in ICT, information technology, have an impact on the mode of delivery of government information. Most of the government organizations are now publishing their reports, rules and regulations and notifications in digital form through their websites. If we see the websites of the various government departments such as Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Home Affairs, and most importantly, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, we can find a large number of publications are available to the users on their websites. The classification of government publications. In a democratic republic like India, government consists of legislators, administrators, and members of the judiciary. It is the means by which state policy is enforced, and it also provides mechanism for determining the state policy. Government has several organs and they are identified by different names. We are familiar with the names like ministry, department, directorate, bureau, institute, council, corporation or trust, court, assembly, office, tribunal. Government publications are normally compiled and written or released under the authority of these organs. There are a few other categories of publications that are authored by the individuals and later published under the aegis of the government. In United States of America, government publications have been defined as informational matter which are published as individual documents at the government expense and as required by the law. Many government documents are made available to the public through the libraries of the Federal Depository Library Program of the United States. The US Government Printing Office, which is popularly known as GPO, distributes documents at no cost through the FDLP, that is Federal Depository Library Program, to its depository library which are spread all over the country. These documents include official court reports, congressional documents for legislative history, official statutes and regulations, and many other publications that are now increasingly available in electronic format. If you compare this situation with India, we find that government publications are printed and distributed in a distributed manner all over the country. There is no central authority to control these publications. As a result, the publication plan or the cataloging of the government publications and their distribution through the normal trade channel is not well recognized. Also, the depository library program under the delivery of books and publications, including Newspapers Act of 1956, which is not enforced uniformly all over the country, is does not guarantee that even a depository library will get the government publications. Another reason is many of the publications which are released by the ministries and departments, they have they are very limited in number when the printing is done. If the printing number of publication is limited, then the distribution is also limited. So a limited number of print order maybe 200. Those publications are distributed among the priority government users. That's why the normal social science researchers in the institutions and universities do not get an access to this publication. So there is a difference of situation in United States and India. United States has a very well organized FDLP program, whereas in India that is little bit weak, and we do not get enough publications in uh, we do not get enough publications. I mean, the libraries do not get enough number of publications from the government departments. As you know, government at all levels, like the municipal government, district government, state government and union government, publishes thousands of documents in a year. These can be divided into major groups, and a few important publications can be identified under a particular head in the following manner. The major groups or sources of information are administrative report, and for example, you can say annual report of the Ministry of Culture 2011-12 and annual report of other Ministry of Home Affairs 2012-13. Then there are statistical publication. For example, there is Statistical Abstract of India, Economic Survey by Ministry of Finance, and report of the Finance Ministry. And some other reports may include the revised report of Technical Expert Group of Patents Law Issues, Ministry of Industry, Law Commission of India, Report on Code of Criminal Procedure 1969. Another category of publication is the research report, and which are normally known as development oriented literature. They are called Report on Reforming Investment Approval and Implementation Procedure 2009, Master Circular on Priority Sector, Lending Technical Report 2004, that is published by the Reserve Bank of India. All these reports are published by the respective institutions, mostly in the form of printed serials, but now due to the advent of the information technology, many of these reports are now available on the website of these organizations like uh, Reserve Bank of India, Planning Commission, and also the ministries of the departments. Another type of government publication is Bills, Act, Law and Code. Examples are Indian Immigration Act, Act number 17 of 1908, Delivery of Books Periodicals Act 1956. There is another category is the Rules and Regulation of Government Orders and Notification, and there are law reports, digests, the contents of law report digests, etc., originate from the proceedings and decision of the courts. For example, we have publications like All India Reports, Supreme Court Digest, records of proceedings of legislative assemblies and Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, Examples are Lok Sabha debates, Rajya Sabha debates, and also like Madras Legislative Council debates. All these publications are normally available in printed form because the law reports, digests, etc. are extensively used by the lawyer, and bills, acts, law, code, etc. are also very important for the purpose of the administration of a nation, and they are widely published by the booksellers. They are sold by the booksellers in the market also. In addition to this, there are certain informative publications. They are published in the form of directory compendium. The most important one is the India 2012. This is a sort of a reference publication released by the Government of India. Our other publicity materials are released by the government related to various programs like Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission, Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, and periodicals, maps and charts are also released by the government. The most one of the important publication by the government is Jojana, Laghu Udyog Samachar, Rashtriya Panchang, Indian Labour Journal, etc. Many of these publications are released with a subsidized price, and they are also distributed free of cost for the general awareness of our citizens. For example, the government programs, uh, welfare schemes like Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission, Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Scheme, Guarantee Scheme, they are the small leaflets of these schemes are distributed among the various users group in libraries, in other organizations like private sector associations, school, colleges, etc. Government publications and its explanation. There are various types of government publications, and if you see from the viewpoint of legislature, then we can say that when a proposal is drafted for introduction in the legislature, it is called a bill. Later, when the bill is approved, it is called act. Law is generally a command issued by the state to its citizens and enforced through the agency of courts of law. When compilations are made of all the laws and laws pertaining to a subject, they are called codes. India Code, issued as a series of publication, is an example in this regard. Then there are reports, working group reports, expert group reports, etc. The Government of India and its organs appoint committees and commissions frequently. The purpose is to inquire and also to study certain important current issues. Such committees and commissions consist of members who are conversant, or you can say expert, with the subject. The findings are recorded and published as reports. The government has set up National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization, which is called NATMO for maps. Other agencies responsible for creating and publishing maps include Registrar General's Office, Geological Survey of India, which is called GSI, Naval Hydrographic Office, National Remote Sensing Agency, and Central Arid Zone Research Institute, etc. Government publication, there are certain other categories of government publications also, because the whatever publications we have mentioned till now, this list is only indicative. There are many other types of publication that are released by different organs of central, state and local government authorities. Also, there are results of sponsored research projects, leaflets, monographs, etc., released on a special occasion. Nowadays, departments and ministries also publicize their achievements through full-page advertisement in the newspapers on the eve of Independence Day or Republic Day. In a limited sense, these can also be treated as government publications. Gazette of India is a most distinct type of publication which has the maximum information regarding government decisions. Gazette of India as a source of notification, order, rules and regulations that are issued by the Union government and its organs. The scope of Gazette of India as a source of government information is much wider. If we carefully examine the contents, we can find that almost all important decisions taken by the government find a place in the Gazette of India. It is a traditional news sheet published by the Union government. It has derived its principal characteristics from the British official Gazette, and for all legal and administrative purposes, it is recognized as the most authentic records of government decisions. Nowadays, the Gazette of India can be subscribed to by the libraries through the government agencies, and also it can be accessed through the website of the government Department of Publications. According to the recent decision taken by the Department of Publication, all recently published government gazettes are to be put on the website so that the users can access them easily. Contents of the Gazette of India are of various types. The major contents of sections and subsections of these weekly publications are stated below. Number 1, non-statutory rules, regulations, orders and resolutions issued by the ministries of the Government of India and the Supreme Court. Number 2, appointments, promotions, leave orders, etc. issued by the ministries of the Government of India and the Supreme Court. Number 3, acts, ordinances, resolutions, bills and reports of the Select Committee of Bills. Number 4, general statutory rules including orders, bylaws, etc., general character statutory orders and notifications by the central authority. Number 5, notifications issued by the High Courts, the Controller and Auditor General, Union Public Service Commission, the Indian Government Railways, and by the attached and subordinate offices of the Government of India. However, the use pattern of this publication suggests that it is used mostly as a ready reference tool to elicit information regarding appointment, pension, retirement order, promotion, etc. This publication is extremely useful for lawyers who represent the Government of India and its employees in cases related to service-related matters. It has also been found that this Gazette of India's different parts and sections are used for the purpose of obtaining personal information like the date of retirement of a military officer or a civil service officer, their date of appointment and when they were promoted, etc. All the office orders related to these events in the service career of the government employees are recorded in the Gazette of India. In this way, it is a very important reference tool for government employees as well as for others. Annual reports. All ministries, departments and other organs of the Government of India published an annual account of their activities in the form of a report. A ministry's programs are normally implemented through various attached and subordinate bodies as well as autonomous organizations. The programs and activities undertaken by all these subordinate and autonomous organizations as well as the ministry as a whole find place in this publication, which is annual report. For example, a statement regarding utilization of financial allocation as well as citizens and client's charter, which enumerate details of various programs and services. The eligibility criteria for the applicant, contact details of the officials dealing with the programs, etc. are included in the annual report. Also, the annual report provides a broad outline of the activities that follow from the subjects allocated under Government of India's Allocation of Business Rule 1961, which has been revised several times. Another category of government publications is research reports and development oriented literature. There are certain government organizations which produce reports that have research and reference value. A sample list of such publications released in recent year is given below. For example, Global Competitiveness on Paper, Cement and Other Goods, Report on Reforming Investment Approval and Implementation Procedure, India's Foreign Relations, the BRICS Report, a study of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, with special form on synergies and complementaries, a report of the subcommittee on for evolving composite development index for states 2013, Indian household investor survey 2004, total transport system study on traffic flows and model cost, highways, railways, airways and coastal shipping. All these reports are published by the various department and ministries in a very dispersed manner. Therefore, to get a copy of this report becomes difficult. Many of those reports are published in a very limited number and they are generally circulated to the government users, that means the officials of the Government of India who are working in this field, and the researchers who want to consult these reports find it very difficult to get access. Now the trend now is the government libraries who have large repositories of reports. For example, the library of Central Secretariat Library, the research institute like Institute of Economic Growth in New Delhi or National Library Kolkata should have a copy of all these reports, and they should process them in an order that the researchers and the users can get a ready access to these reports. Planning Commission, there are certain other organizations uh, like Reserve Bank of India, Planning Commission, etc., Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs, which sponsor and research and bring out development oriented publication. Planning Commission is one of the major publisher of this type of reports, and some of the examples of these reports are 5-year plan documents, approach paper to 5-year plan, technical notes on the approach to the 5-year plans, annual plan, mid-term appraisal of 5-year plan, annual report of the Planning Commission, report of the meeting of the National Development Council, working group reports, task force reports, steering committee reports, guidelines for the preparation of the feasibility reports for projects, and reports of the National Committee on the Development of Backward Areas. In a similar way, other ministries and departments of the Government of India, which have research and policy making wing, publish a large number of documents in the form of working group, task force, experts committee reports, and recommendations of the various expert groups. Most of these documents are published only for official use, and if you want to get a copy for consultation, you have to approach the publisher of these reports, like various research wings of the Government of India's ministries and the departments. Normally, these reports are not available to booksellers or publishers of other types of books and publications. Another important government department is Publication Division, which is an organ of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The Publication Division publishes popular books for the general public on different regions, people, and also on India's diverse culture. These books are non-technical in nature and they are published mainly for the younger generation to create an awareness of national culture and national heritage. The following is a list of reference works published under the aegis of the Publication Division. For example, we can see Arjuna Awardees by K.R. Wadhne, Budget Speeches of Union Finance Ministers, Common Man's Guide to Rights and Facilities by Onkar Kedia and Manish Pandey, Empowering the Indian Woman by Pramila Kapoor, For a United India, Speeches of Sardar Patel, 1947 to 1950, Human Rights and Working Women by Jayashree Gupta, Indian Railways, Glorious 100 Years by R.R. Bhandari, Indira Gandhi, Selected Speeches and Writings in 5 volumes, The Study of Public Sector, edited by Manohar Bandyopadhyay, and Women of India by Tara Ali Beg. One of the most frequently used reference books published by the Publication Division is India a Reference Annual, which is published every year, and this has been compiled by Research, Reference and Training Division of the Ministry of Information Broadcasting. Other publication of Publication Division are mostly on the biography of the national heroes and also on some celebrations like the Republic Day, Independence Day, etc. And these they are published as a priced publication, but the price is very low so that people can buy them and read them, and they are also sent to the small public libraries of the country, particularly in remote areas, so that people can read them widely. The government information towards a better dissemination. Now, the most of the government departments are trying to adopt methods and tools by which they can disseminate their data and information in a much better way to the general users. Access to government information has now become easier, largely due to advancement in information and communication technology. Most of the mainstream government publications and research reports are now available in the websites of the ministries and departments. This has also reduced the time lag in the release of important printed publications. In addition to this, the following documents, policy statement or documents, and the Transparency Act has considerably changed the attitude of the ministries and the departments. These two acts are Right to Information Act, which is called RTI 2005, and National Data Sharing and Accessibility Act or Policy of 2012. The RTI Act provides a legal institutional framework under which one can access public information. National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy is another document which provides guidelines to the government departments and the ministry how their data, particularly in the electronic form, can be made accessible through the website and also by other means. What are the procedures to be followed in this regard? Data sharing policy. Now, according to the new guidelines prepared by the government for the national sharing of data among the organizations, there are certain objectives. The first objective is to maximize the use of data. Ready access to the data is aimed to eliminate the chance of collection of same data by different bodies. And also the government data will facilitate extensive use of a valuable public resource. That means, I mean to say that if you share data with one government agency with other government agency, so in that way the data will be extensively used, as well as the chances of duplication of the collection of data by the same agency will also decrease. Another purpose is maximized integration. By adopting common standards for the collection and transfer of data, integration of individual data sets seems to be feasible. Another factor is the ownership information. The identification of the owners for the principal data sets would enable the users to identify those responsible for the implementation of prioritized data collection programs and development of data standards. Decision making. For example, easy and ready access to existing data on important variables is essential for many decision making tasks like protecting the environment, development planning, managing assets, improving living conditions, national security, and controlling disasters. So these are some of the benefits the government can derive from this data sharing policy. Government publications and reference service. As we all know, the reference librarians working in government libraries and also in academic libraries are required to provide data and information that are available in these publications. By a survey, it has been established that the ready reference questions can be answered with digital information, and personal and private questions as well as research questions are not answered properly with digital repositories, and questions requiring a quick answer are poorly served by the internet based digital material. Perhaps librarians in India have similar experience with digital resources. Indian content on the internet is presently limited, though it is growing very rapidly. In order to provide a reference service, librarians working in government document section should be aware of the working of various ministries and departments at all levels, and effective provision of government information is closely interlinked with the understanding of legislative, executive, judicial, and regulatory processes of the country. The reference librarian should be able to identify relevant historical and recent publications regardless of their format and place of origin. This factor is very important for the librarians, particularly working in the government departments, because they if they are not exposed to the content and structure of different types of government publication, and if they do not use these publications frequently during the course of their reference work, it becomes difficult for them to answer queries based on the contents of the reports, serials, and other types of government documents. Who is a reference librarian in a government department? A library professional, by virtue of his training, can always retrieve a given document using standard indexing or abstracting tools, or by using the standard library catalog. But he cannot provide the full range of information on a particular topic unless he knows the scope of government publishing in all formats. A researcher may ask for a data on income distribution in India, that is classification of population based on their income. A government librarian must know that reliable official data on income distribution are not available, and consumer expenditure data based on household survey conducted by the NSSO, that is National Sample Survey Office, is normally used by researchers as a proxy. One can say that a request from a social science researchers for government data and information cannot be met fully with the bibliographical tools like catalog of government publications or any other commercial catalog. A thorough knowledge of the various type of data series that are available in a publication is needed to service the users of government reports and government serials. Now the students, we have come to the end of this module. Now the concluding part, I would like to emphasize a few things. In India, if you can say, the government is the largest publisher. If you examine closely, you find that there is a wide array of books, reports, proceedings, serials, monographs are released in a diffused manner all over the country at all levels, that is central, state, municipal, block. Major publishers include planning and policy making bodies as well as regulatory agencies or authorities like Planning Commission, Reserve Bank of India, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and in states, of course, there are planning boards, and state statistical bureaus are the major publishers of development oriented government literature. And the second observation is a very important factor is there is no publication policy. Bibliographic control of government publication is almost non-existent. One has to critically examine the archival memory of the above mentioned agencies, I mean the primary agencies which generate government publication, in order to prepare an exhaustive list of their publications. Most of the important publications are now put on the websites of the respective government agencies. That is a very good sign. But the publication of bulky government documents, which was printed earlier and their circulation was in large number, has now been discontinued, is a very good sign. Most of the government reports which were earlier meant for official use only, there was a stamp that it is only for official use, is now available normally on the websites or government agencies. The element of confidentiality has been almost eliminated. Another observation is that RTI Act, that is the Right to Information Act, a National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy, NDSAP, announced by the Government of India very recently in 2012, has facilitated easy availability of government generation data and information. Apart from the planning and policy making bodies, organizations like Department of Publication, publisher of Gazette of India, and National Archives of India have changed their age-old policy of selling their data or restricting their use. Now, emphasis is on transparency and openness. Digitization of records and their proper upkeep with retrieval facility is now considered important, and many of the government agencies have started the digitization of their old publication, old records, and it is believed that within a few years, a good repository of government published information will be made available to the users. Thank you, students. Thank you for your attention.